Hey everybody, welcome to another severe weather, update, and then we'll get into the snow talk side of things a little bit later on. Dealing with a lot of rain this morning. The first slug of moisture that came through, kind of merging a bit with the second round, kind of becoming one. It's hard to tell the separation of the two, but Kentucky really is taking a beating on the rainfall compared to Indiana so far, and a good dose of about 3/4 of an inch, and likely will end up over an inch of rain in our southern tier of counties. Now, as a lot of you know, this is usually a good sign when we see this much rain moving through. Even the lightning has eased a bit, so it's hard to say thunderstorms from now until noon. I think it's mainly going to be rain, exception to be our far southern counties, say Adair, Greene, and Taylor. You'll still have some lightning to contend with and gusty winds. Look at the visible satellite. This is obviously going to be the key for the afternoon. You see a bit of the thinning going on near the Wabash. In fact, the latest observations coming in with a partly cloudy sky around, say, portions of Jasper and Evansville. So there's a chance we could see the sun rays break through. Question is it going to be enough? Because even if you get sun for 30 minutes, that's not enough. You need at least an extended time here to get the atmosphere to reload itself again, and I just don't know if we have that amount of time before we get impacted again by the actual front, which is now near the St. Louis area. This is the activity that we're waiting to see how this will move in. This is the activity that's technically round 2 that's kind of merging in with round 1 a bit. And then there'll be one more little batch that could develop along the actual front that'll swing in this evening. It's going to be that batch. It's not even on the radar yet that we'll have to monitor and see how that behaves once it moves into the area, because of the setup that we have today with good amount of wind energy to work with. We don't have a lot of what we call the thermal energy, a lot of the heating to work with here. A lot of moisture. Here's Futurecast shows the two kind of working together here this morning and midday to push through. And then you see what happens for the afternoon. We start to see the front activity move through, but it's just not quite firing up. It's trying hard to develop a line of broken cells across the front itself. Can't rule it out completely, but our confidence in it remains low because of what's happening so far. And then we're in the clear, I would say, after 7 or 8 o'clock. Even the latest HRRR model is indicating just a very narrow ribbon here of instability to work with. The higher values certainly in Tennessee and into Mississippi, where, by the way, the slight risk kind of aims generally like this for the afternoon period, and then you got a marginal risk north of that. And helicity's up there, and that's natural when you have a low pressure like that moving through the Great Lakes. I mean, this is a strong amount of wind shear moving through the area, but you see where it's maxed out at. Values over 300s, but I usually like to look at, and once you get into the 300 to 500 range, there could be an isolated tornado that could develop. But you can't just get tornadoes just from that alone. You can have the other ingredients lined up as well. And that's why the other ingredients do somewhat match up a little more to the south than they do across southern Indiana and northern Kentucky. So here on out, thunderstorm potential is still there. It's not at 0. We'll just have to wait and see how this goes this afternoon. Just be alert, and we'll keep you updated and alert you if we see anything that looks significant popping on that radar with that final band later today. Moving along. Behind that system, this is wave number 2. It's wild to see how this second wave that we were watching last week first was trending along the Gulf of Mexico. Then it moved into the deep south. Then it moved across southern Kentucky. Now it's aimed itself more toward Indiana and Ohio. So it just kept trending more and more north as we got closer in time. And overall, anything that's going to stick, that's anything significant as far as even just turning the ground white in grassy areas, is going to be closer to I-70. For us, we could see some snow flurries that could backlash the area, could give a light little coating in little pockets of the yard, maybe a little corner of the car window, that kind of stuff. Not a big deal. We'll see how it plays out, but I don't see any issues. So let's look ahead. And as we do, here's the model ensemble outlook. Here's GFS. Here is Euro. Here's Canadian. Again, here are the operational runs, which are a little more dramatic at times, and then the smoothed out, chilled out ensembles, which are easier to look at. And the longer term. As we enter this weekend, another low pressure is going to move from the plains right into the eastern side of the Great Lakes. It's going to warm us up again, 60s to near 70. Thunderstorms should accompany the front by Sunday night. All the models seem to have that. Low moving through, although Canadian not as defined with it. The ensembles somewhat show it, especially with GFS. The Euro certainly does, and then the Canadian does, but it's a little faster with it. Canadians always seems to be fast with things. But in general, you see how that low moves through. But here's the problem. Look carefully. You see all these lines together, all these isobars together? That's a sign of another low pressure that's waiting right here in the southwest, and even ensembles are showing it. It's just sitting there. It's not attached to anything. It's by itself. Question is it going to get pulled in to the picture here? GFS seems to think so. It's going to get pulled in, and we could see some type of phasing going on. The euro, not sold on it. You see it's got still the main low to the east. Here is still that second low. It's kind of hanging out still across Texas. Problem is, the euro has a tendency to always do that. It takes energy that's stuck in the southwest and keeps it there too long, and of course misses its ride to get caught up in anything in the east. When you look at the ensembles, it's hard to tell this far out on ensembles, something like that, so they're kind of not, they're not helpful at this point. And then as we head toward the 16th of February, then we see that it's got just, going crazy here with a mid-Atlantic storm that could become a nor'easter on the GFS. Again, Euro's taking it way to the south. It has the system way down here in the Gulf Coast, detached completely the entire time. But what was interesting is when you look a little closer at the euro, from Weathervale, when you look at the ensembles, here's that low again. This weekend, zips on by, warms us up, showers and thunderstorms. So it's got, and this, by the way, is a plot of the potential locations of the actual low, so you can see the concentration right in through here. So good agreement that low is going to zip on by to the northeast. But then you see a couple L's right here. There's that energy holding back, and then as we head into about Valentine's Day, if not a couple days after, you can see that here's the main ride. It's gone, and the euro's like, wait for me, wait for me. It's trying to hang on with this little baby low here to the south, and then it tries to roll it out around the 16th. But look where it has it placed. It has no idea where to put that low at, but it knows it wants to come out of the southwest and join in with something. So there's a lot of interesting stuff showing up down the road. We'll see how it plays out. It is also interesting from the CFS to see the potential for something really strong showing up perhaps during that period or just after that could mean some thunderstorms again for some parts of the eastern United States. So something significant is showing up in the data. We just don't know yet what it's going to be or how it's going to evolve, what it's going to look like. But I would say just after Valentine's Day, we're all in for a potential significant system for the eastern United States. And the indices, especially NAO, going way negative, would support something going up the coast. Stay tuned. We'll see how it looks as we get closer. I'm not saying it's going to snow. I'm not saying it's going to be thunderstorms. It just looks like a significant system. We'll stay on guard, and we'll see how it plays out.